All right, third time's a charm. Add viewers to the broadcast. All right, we should be all set. Okay, now.
Hey.
Oh, sounds much better.
All right, sweet.
All right, we're good to go. So this is going to be.
Sorry, I got to turn it down.
What's that?
I got to turn it down. It's now very loud.
So this is going to be added to our group page with Freedom Financial Solutions. Wanted to go ahead and just do a proper introduction for you to 360 people who don't know you, but they're about to know you. And
excellent.
Well, first of all, number one, and I had spoken about this the other day, you are, number one, a friend of mine, so we know each other personally, and I've been following your work now for many, many years, and I was just really excited. We had talked about this when I ran into you at the Eagles game, about possibly doing something and getting together, so I think that this is a great first start. First and foremost, you are a mom of two beautiful girls who I know personally.
Yes, they're amazing.
You're an author of multiple books. You've been featured on TEDx multiple times. And I believe just as of today, you got voted Best Motivational Speaker of 2019.
Yeah, so I'm a nominee. The final culmination of it happens in the fall, but so I'm a nominee for Motivational Speaker of the Year for 2019, which is 20 years plus in the making.
Wow. Okay, so that's exciting.
Yeah, my friend Todd Herman and we laughed about it. We were like, it's an overnight success.
You know, one of the other things that you've had a lot of success with is coaching and coaching entrepreneurs, coaching athletes, coaching CEOs and executives. You've been featured and written up in numerous publications, Forbes and Fortune magazine, to name a few. And so just a ton of accolades. And one thing that I didn't know about you is that you've been featured on just about every major television publication as well, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, I dialed back the television a couple of years ago, but I used to be on pretty much every station in rotation, or every network, I should say, every other day, or every day of the week practically. It was really intense, and it can burn you out pretty quickly. So I wanted to dial that component back just a little the last few years, but now I'm about to launch my next book. So I'm going to be ramping that back up any week now.
And so over the course of your career, you've had a chance to work with everyone from people who maybe are just starting their career as maybe independent owners and entrepreneurs, individuals who are looking to patent maybe their own product or service, individuals who are looking to start a major corporation, and then executives working for those corporations, and probably everybody in between. Let's start at the very beginning. How did you begin to get involved in that type of speaking or motivational career? And I did notice that you have a background in gymnastics, right? My Aubrey's loves gymnastics. Your girls do gymnastics. What was the correlation there? Did you take some of the disciplines of being in gymnastics, because it is an extremely disciplined sport, and then cross that over? How did that all start for you?
So I was in multiple sports too, besides that, soccer, basketball, track. Track is actually where I excelled the most, naturally. Um, Not naturally like you should assume it, but naturally without much effort. I was in the Junior Olympics when I was a kid. Um, I'd say my work ethic and discipline was forced upon me from my father when I was younger. He was a drill sergeant in the Marines, and we lived in a very military-like home, where he would be so aggravated if I'm like sleeping in the summer. Here I am a teenager, and he'd flip out like, "You're sleeping the day away," and it'd be like 8 a.m. So, um, and then when I was in college, I actually started my first entrepreneurial experience, but I didn't realize I was doing it then. It was just out of passion, as most entrepreneurs begin. I went home during a holiday, and I did step aerobics, which is now aging me completely. And I did step aerobics, and I loved it. And when I went back to school, I wanted to keep being able to do it. So we didn't have that at our school at the time. So I went to some of the leaders of the school and I said, "Hey, I need steps, I need boombox, and I need a place, and I'll take it from there." And basically started this group fitness program, and would charge people money to come, and it was amazing. It was awesome. So that then transitioned. My degree was in psychology and education, but then I didn't really want to ever teach traditionally. I did a small little stint after I graduated college to please my dad, as most people do. And then I continued to pursue in the fitness industry simultaneously. And then I became a national level fitness competitor, worked with Reebok on the aerobics performance team. And this is in the 90s when fitness was a very infant industry. Everyone was kind of paving the way. Reebok had very much this influencer training that was happening back then, but we didn't know it. There was no name for it, but they were teaching us how to be influencers of a movement. And that taught me a lot of everything that I continue doing in my life. But when I started doing the fitness stuff, I was put out there as a speaker, and it didn't seem like I was a speaker, because I would have been freaked out if it seemed like that then. But it was more of me just preaching what I was passionate about. And I could do that all day long, which was just a mental shift, really. And then because I was in the fitness industry at that time period, I really was surrounded by some incredible thought leaders on fitness, wellness, how to just be the best you. And it was more physical, connected to mental back then. But I would always dive deep into the mental, and I wound up getting some of the best mentors, thought leaders in the world around mindset training, which was Bob Proctor, Mark Victor Hansen, Jack Canfield, Art Linkletter, who created You Can't Kids Say the Darndest Things, which he had created one of the best deals of my lifetime that I've ever heard, that truly was a tipping point in my life, where he and Walt Disney were buddies, which is a fun thing to say, right? My buddy Walt. He and Walt Disney were friends, and he got to see Disneyland before it opened. And he walked around with Walt, and he said to him at the end, "Hey, listen, I have a great idea. You should probably get some young kids to stand around and take pictures of families who forget to take cameras, and then have little huts set up throughout the amusement park and sell those photos," which is common at any, people can't believe when they hear the story where it began, but it's common knowledge. But they shook hands and had a 15% royalty deal that Art Linkletter's estate still makes money on today, which is amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, so that taught me about how to leverage your ideas and license and create products and services and leverage the services. But to go back to your original question, my training was always simultaneous between one-on-one, small groups, and groups of thousands of people. So a lot of people in my role can only do large groups, or they can only do one-on-ones, or they can only do small group trainings. It is effortless for me to transition in all, and I love all for different reasons. The same way I love when I'm speaking, I love keynoting, but I also love emceeing. Because they're different talents that you're tapping into.
So I've heard you say a couple things that we'll streamline into a series of questions that I'd like to ask you that are going to be, directly correlated towards independent contractors and entrepreneurs. And so one of the things that I heard you talk about was like a thought process combined with discipline. So
Yes.
it was the conditioning of the discipline of, what started out in your family life and in your home and being raised in a little bit more of a military type, atmosphere in your home,
Yep.
which then transitioned over to athletics. And in any individual athletic sport, which gymnastics is an individual, different than a typical team sport, there has to be a certain type of mental attitude that you have to have combined with the discipline, which then led you to, again, that's what led you to be able to speak to others and begin to empower others. Is that safe to say?
Yeah. So the self-assuredness, the confidence, the self-esteem, they're all connected. The self-worth is all connected. Um, that came innately through my passion, really. And if you're passionate, you can tap into the passion about something, your self-esteem blossoms immediately, your confidence blossoms immediately, which gave me the confidence to walk into my college executives and say, hey, I need all these things to create this thing. And not having any clue what I was doing, but what I've learned and having some of the best mindset trainers in the world, the discipline, taking action, but the belief systems, right? So a lot of people just work on the discipline and taking action, but their mindset is garbage. And it's not their fault. It's usually programmed before they're even 7 from their parents on lack beliefs. So lack beliefs around money, lack beliefs around success, power, achievement, and just negative thought processes. And more of society has that, way more. The reason there's only the reason that 3% of the world has the greatest amount of wealth is because 3% think a certain way and 97% think another way. And it's why people win the lottery and then lose all their money. It's why even if we give people benefits in life, they'll still lose them if they don't change their mindset to go along with it, right? So the biggest benefit we can give people is education. Not traditional education, so to speak. Traditional is good, but more mindset education. How do you think? What are your beliefs? And belief in yourself first and foremost, because if you don't believe in yourself, no one is going to believe in you. You could walk into the greatest sales meeting that you've set up in your lifetime, but if you come in scared and not believing the value that you're offering with conviction that you're doing someone a favor, you've just lost that opportunity. So, it really, to me, the foundation is the constant reflection and introspection on your belief system. When I work with my clients, I am peeling back the layers of their belief systems. And there's so many deep-rooted subconscious beliefs that we can't see on our own. I call them the blind spots. That's why everyone should have a coach. Everyone should have a mentor, because I can't, even all the work that I've done, there's things that I can't see for myself because it's so programmed to be a belief that I can't see it to be anything else. And so I need somebody else to call me out on my stuff, to be like, oh, look, you're repeating this pattern. You see this pattern? It keeps happening. So what are you doing to cause it? Because any pattern that continues is you're the cause of it. You're the root of it. You're the common denominator of it. And so the key is, how do I uncover the clarity to what that habit is, that pattern, the belief system is that's causing this to limit my potential. Whatever outcome you have in your life right now that you don't like, there is a belief system attached to it that has to be changed in order to get a different outcome. So you could take the action, you could have the discipline, but if you don't change the belief system, you'll keep falling backwards. You might move forward and then you'll fall back. You might move forward. It's like why people join the gym and they're like, yeah, this is the year I'm losing weight, I'm staying discipline, I'm going to the gym 5 days a week, and by January 31st they're there 1 day a week. They're right back to their old eating patterns because they didn't change the belief systems that got them in that place to begin with.
Yeah, you make so many great, valid, factual points. One of the things that I like to kind of add to what you said is, that 3%, of the world's wealth is made up of CEOs who read on average 100 books a year.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. They're constantly continuing their education. I mean, I've been doing this work for over 20, now it's 20, almost 25 years.
Yeah.
And I don't stop reading. I don't stop learning every single day of my life. The first hour of my day, I have carved out, or if it's not the exact first hour, it's early in my day, I have an hour carved out for personal development. And maybe it's while I'm working out at the same exact time, right, but I am learning and growing every day and challenging my boundaries of my belief systems and challenging my perspective of the world, or learning something that I'm uncomfortable learning, so that that growth keeps pushing me further into a better version of myself. But that 3%, so just to go back to 3% real fast, when I was, so it was 1999, I was in the fitness industry still. I went to this conference in Canada and Bob Proctor was speaking. Now, for those of you who don't know who Bob Proctor is, look him up. Just Google Bob Proctor, Science of Getting Rich, and you'll learn a lot really fast. He got on stage in this packed stadium, and every word that came out of his mouth just resonated with me. And it was like fire. I'm sure you felt like hearing a speaker, you just get so fired up and you're like, I know this stuff. And for me, I knew that I knew it, but I didn't know how I knew it. And I fought my way to that man after that event. I fought my way. And I was like, I cannot let this man leave without seeing him and telling him I need to learn from him. and that's what I did. Here I'm like 20 some years of age, like, hey, I need to speak with you. And I literally said to him, I know everything that you said, but I don't know how I know it, but I know that I know it, and I need to know more of it, and I need you to teach me. And he basically said to me, so this is a huge lesson in this. He gave me his card, and he said, this is my assistant's number. Reach out to her on Monday. This was a Saturday, and she'll tell you what to do. So I reach out to her on Monday. She says to me, Bob said you need to be in California on Friday, and you're going to do this mastermind, and it's cost $10,000, and you're staying at the Ritz-Carlton. Now here I am, this 20-some-year-old entrepreneur, like, what? Oh my God, I don't have $10,000 to, like, I just got back from Canada. I put all these expenses out for that. Sure. $10,000, and I'm staying at the Ritz-Carlton, and I have to get my flight within just a few days, which means it's going to be really expensive.
Not to interrupt you, but talk about the signs of life, right?
Totally.
I mean, like, literally hitting you in the, it's like, Jen, it's right here.
And there's my logic that tried to talk me out of that.
Sure.
But my instinct knew I had to do it, and I had to figure out how to get that money, and I figured it out. And when you really want to leap, you'll figure it out. You'll always figure it out. And I did, and that was a really expansive experience. Changed my life. I found myself in this mastermind group with 39 other people. The writer, the author of The Secret, happened to be in that mastermind group, hence the book, The Secret, because Bob would always say, and the secret is, and then he would give us another principle. And she was just the genius that took copious notes and turned it into a book. Who knew you could do that? So that leap of faith, that determination to get to the next level, I found myself in what was called literally the 3% Club. And their goal was to teach the next generation how to be the next 3% of wealthy in the world.
What an awesome story. And talk about timing and being in the right place at the right time, and meeting the right people, and things that are happening in your life happen for a reason. One of the key words that I kept hearing you say is belief systems. And one of the things that we preach is the higher your belief system, the higher your confidence. And that is a direct correlation towards the financial services industry. When a new person comes on board, they have to take an exam and a test for the state to get licensed. And a lot of that information sometimes gets thrown at them at 14 days. And then on the 15th or 16th day, they go take the test, they pass. And it's like, wow, I just got inundated with all this information that I don't know where to put it. And then they meet us, and now we're teaching them how to deal with a client, product knowledge, systems, training, all this fun stuff.
Mhm.
And you can imagine at that point in time, although they passed the test, their belief level or their confidence level isn't necessarily at an all-time high because there's fear and
Yeah.
there's skepticism. A lot of times, this is something that it's a question that I have written down, and I'm not going to get to it right now, but a lot of times someone with your same last name, a spouse, a sibling, it could be somebody in your circle of friends, will try to talk you out of what it is that you're trying to
Always.
do. And
Hmm.
so,
Always.
right, so when you have this high belief system, you're going to ultimately have a higher level of persuasion when it comes to
Hmm.
dealing with clients. So your belief
Yeah.
system is the lower your belief system, the lower your persuasion, the lower your belief system, the lower your confidence, and vice
Hmm.
versa. So
Yeah.
I have a direct question for you.
Sure.
What would you tell, right? So what would you tell? I'm having fun. I don't know, I was
I
looking forward to doing this. And we've
I
had
could do this all day.
yeah. And so, this is our 7th episode, and, just amazing individuals that we've had on and some amazing individuals that we have planned here for the rest of the year. But this was one that I had kind of like circled on the calendar, and I was like, I'm going to get groovy with Groover here on Wednesday. I can't wait.
I love it.
So
By the way, I was thinking that might be my next podcast title, and I was like, are people going to think it's about music? Grooving with Groover, get groovy.
get groovy with Groover. There it is. So I want to zone in on something that you're an expert in, and that is effective communication skills, right? So we have individuals, and you know what? I think across the board, universally, this could be used for any type of sales industry. It doesn't have to be necessarily insurance. Anybody in any kind of form of sales, this question maybe can be relatable to. What would you tell somebody who's an individual in that kind of position who on a daily basis is interacting with business owners, with clients, with individuals that they just met, and they're looking to make a transaction over the next hour or two? What type of effective communication skills can they start to begin to practice on a daily basis, almost like a ritual?
Yeah. So the intercommunication is the first line of communication. So I always start off when I'm getting revved up to go into a meeting and these creepy thoughts come in of like, wow, this is huge. Oh my God, this is, and the more it matters to you, the more you can spiral down. So I always think, why not me? Why not me? Like, what makes like Rachel Hollis able to do this? Or what makes like Sarah Blakely be able to do this? And so I just say, why not me? Like, I'm no less than them. I'm no different than them. And that's always been my first line of ritual is the why not me. And then when I believe that when we're doing sales and we want to communicate, it's not about talking to somebody. It's about storytelling and listening, and storytelling and listening. So it's about asking the right questions, really asking the right questions, being, and this is more of an NLP body language thing, being open. Most people are so guarded. And because I do this for a living, it's hard for me because I can feel it where other people might feel put off, but they don't know what they're feeling. I feel this guardedness that comes from people all the time. And it comes from their own fears and their own lack beliefs. But if you're guarded, other people feel it, so they don't trust you. So you have to learn how to like literally open your energetic space so that somebody wants to lean into you and connect with you, versus if you're guarded, they're going to be guarded. And your body language will show it, and your energy will sure show it. And when you're communicating, asking the right questions isn't like just directly about the product or service, but it's asking about their life and hearing what they're saying. Like somebody said to me the other day, it was a random conversation at a baby naming party, and the guy was talking about his house that he grew up in and how bizarre the house was, and how he put the picture of it because it's now for sale. And he was like, you can only imagine what my life was like as a kid. And he talks about this house and how people are like, oh my God, that crazy house. I see that crazy house all the time. And I go, well, was your mom really eccentric? And his girlfriend leans back and she's like, how did you know that? I'm like, because I listened between the lines. He's saying he had a crazy house. Everybody talks about the house. His mom had to be eccentric to live in that house. She had to be a creative.
Yeah.
Now I already know about his mom. So I'm not listening to what he's saying literally. I'm listening to the layers of what he's saying. And I'm pulling out aspects of his life. Now I know his mom was an eccentric person. I can imagine he's a more open-minded person. So these are clues that I'm getting. These are communication clues that are without even words that most people miss all day long. And again, you're never selling, you're storytelling. So when you want to start to convey a message about what you're selling, like you storytell by putting posts on Facebook, and I see them sometimes. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Like something recently with somebody with their college, with their daughter, and that was a story. And now I'm like, oh, I wonder if I should do that for my girls because they're going to go to college in a few years. You didn't sell me anything. You just told me a story. And so the biggest form of communication is active listening, layered listening, open energy, and so creating a warmth. For those who might not understand what open energy means, creating a warmth to you, and being fun if you can, and then telling stories to sell what you're selling, not sell something. And the more you can think of stories that are testimonials or examples, the more people can put themselves into that situation. Like the other day, I was like, oh, I have 2 kids going to college in 3 years. Maybe I need to get that thing.
Yeah. You know, some of the things that I, hold on. That was Jay Duran calling.
Ah, that's fine.
Literally.
Of course.
Just now.
You wanted in on the action.
Yeah. Add me in. Add me in.
Add me in.
He's calling again.
Yes, do it again. Add me in. Look, he really is.
A couple of the nuggets that I heard you talk about was the layered listening, and obviously, right, facts tell, stories sell, that sort of type of thing. As human beings, we are self-defeating creatures, but we also talk with our emotions. And whenever there's some sort of transaction happening, you see it, and you just spoke about it. You watch people's body language, and then it's not always about the words that they're telling you. There's some sort of hidden truth behind what it is that they're telling you. Yes?
Yes, absolutely. Most people are saying what they think the person wants to hear. But underneath that, if you're a really good active listener and a layered listener, this is what I teach in my emotional intelligence trainings. Because the more emotionally intelligent you are, the more you're self-aware. But then also you're more self-aware of other people's body language, their language. Like when someone says, I'll try to do something, I know they're not going to do it. They just told me they're not going to do it. I'll try means I'm not committed. I'll try means I just don't want to let you down. And I just don't want to tell you no, because I feel like I'm going to disappoint you. So I listen to those words too, like the language that someone's choosing, the body language that they're using. And if they're turning your body against you, just some of the simple things, that means they don't trust you. When they're leaning, that's why I said, learn how to open and lean in, because then people lean back to you.
Eye contact.
Eye contact. Huge. Enormous. And so the more emotionally intelligent you become, the more emotionally you can connect with people. And that, the best salespeople in the world are masters at that. So that's the most important part, is to, if you're going to commit to a personal growth journey right now, becoming a better salesperson, become more emotionally intelligent, because then you will become more self-aware. You become more aware of others and their language and their body language, and you can become more emotionally available, which then makes people trust you faster. When Steve and I first started dating, he would always say, everyone loves you. Like everyone just like trusts you. And I'm like, because I'm emotionally available to people. People feel that I'm emotionally available to them. Therefore they trust me. And it's a energetic thing. And also like being warm, compassionate, asking people questions.
Yeah.
Trust is the thing that you need the most trying to sell somebody something. So the question isn't how do you close a deal, it's how do you get someone to trust you, and then you close the deal.
One of my big emotions is authenticity. And
Mhm.
if you're authentic with someone, they will feel that energy. And
Mhm.
it will either get reciprocated back, which allows you now to have a connection, or like you
Mhm.
said, they're going to turn, they're not going to look at you, the eye contact,
Mhm.
because I don't know about you, but I found that most people don't know how to take a compliment.
Yeah.
I pay compliments
Yeah.
to
Of
people all the
course.
time. I pay compliments to people all
Mhm.
the time. And it's interesting to see the reactions because they've been programmed from such a young age. They've been told what to do, how to do
Mhm.
something, or talked down to,
Mhm.
programmed from in the educational system. And then they meet somebody who has a high, maybe emotional intelligence and has
Mhm.
high levels of confidence. And we want to instill this in others. And
Mhm.
it's interesting because strangers don't know how to take it sometimes.
Yeah. So it's funny. I love working with people who do that, who deflect the compliments, and
Yeah.
I'll actually say in most situations to someone, I get it. I used to deflect compliments too, but you got to just learn to receive them. It feels really good, and you could see people. And sorry, it just called me. When you do that, you can see people letting their guard down and starting to feel connected. Or I believe in transparency as part of authenticity, and I am very transparent about my life, and we're all flawed human beings, and actually people can connect on the vulnerability of flaws. And I'm not saying being negative, that's not at all, not close to what I'm saying. But when you can say to someone, I get it, I used to be scared too, or I get it, like I feel like fearful of rejection, or I get it, like when I was younger my dad was hard on me. Like if you can pick out what people are saying and identify with it, it instantly creates a connection between two people. Most people won't do that though, because everyone's trying to create this illusion of perfection, and the illusion of perfection is really actually off-putting, or this illusion of like knowing it all, versus this, listen, we're all flawed human beings, like we all have the same desire to be happy and loved and accepted. So when we know those three things, that's what we need to build trust. That's how we connect to somebody, knowing they want to feel loved and accepted and appreciated.
Yeah. And it's not gender specific either. Men and
Yep.
women equally want to feel important. They want to feel listened to
Mhm.
equally.
Yep. Yep. And that's how you become the best salesperson. It's not the language of like, and I know you guys teach strategy around that, and strategy is really important, but the strategy is worthless without this human connection stuff that a lot of people don't pay enough attention to. It used to be called soft skills. I call them impact skills because they make the impact. And if you don't have them, it's the difference between mediocre and greatness.
100%. I couldn't agree more. And one of the ways that everyone who's watching this can begin to learn these skills is by working on themselves and being
Mm-hmm.
able to self-reflect and find out where are my flaws and
Mm-hmm.
begin to obviously pour some goodness into their mind. I heard you talk about you do personal development either at the gym or when you first wake up. I'm not going to,
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about it at the end, some daily rituals. I have daily rituals. I
Mm-hmm.
know you have daily rituals. I'll talk about it at the end, but I think that that's one of the ways that you can kind of make that connection.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. What would be, all right, so this is a good segue. So give us an idea. So what would be an example, one, two, three, however many you like to choose, of ways that you can begin to empower yourself? And
Well,
maybe we just talked about it.
well, that's going to cross over. It's literally the bridge between what we just talked about and the daily rituals, right? Uh,
Okay.
so, so discipline, I believe, discipline, creating a routine, daily rituals is a direct correlation, a direct self expression of self worth. You will notice that the people that you can see that have the highest sense of self worth have discipline and routine in their lives. And what blows my mind, like literally blows my mind, I just assume, because I've been doing this since I was a child, I make insane, insane to-do lists. So I'll show you real fast. and there's notes all over it, but every day it starts off with a to-do list.
Yes.
And in the left columns, all my to-dos. In the middle are my personal stuff and some of the long things. And then in this column are like proposals and follow-up emails and things like that. That right there changes people's, I'm sure you have it.
I
Yep.
think we have the same calendar.
I love it. You know, it's funny. I didn't talk about this as much until recently because I just assumed everybody does this. But then I had this friend in town who is like ridiculously disciplined and successful and just is so self-assured in everything. And we sit down at coffee in the morning and he literally whips out a notebook and starts doing exactly what I just showed you. I'm like, oh my God, I have the same system, but I like created it when I was a teenager because I was so ADD. So one of the things that empowers you is to be organized, like being organized. If I'm not organized, I am literally meandering around my day like a lost soul. So being organized is the fastest way someone can increase their confidence, because when you're not organized, you're scattered, you're forgetting things, you feel unprepared. And so that's like our first line of like superficial layer of how do you build your self-confidence and be empowered, be organized. I start by doing this list every night, the night before.
Okay.
So the next morning, I'm off and running. I know some people do in the morning. If I do in the morning, I feel like I'm wasting 30 minutes of that time. I like to do it at night. Play through the day in my head as I'm laying in bed the next day. So I'm visualizing how I want things to go. I'm setting intentions of how I want to be. I'm doing all these mental imageries the night before I go to bed. So the next day, it's almost like it's not even almost like I programmed my subconscious mind while I'm sleeping how the day is going to play out. Now, yes, life gives you curveballs and you can't control those. But the more you have this to fall back to, the better you feel. Now, another part of this psychologically, notice that you did too. I have all these crossed off things. The more you can cross things off,
Yes.
you're creating the sense of achievement, this value of achievement. There's so many military people that tell you making your bed first thing in the morning is the most important thing to do because it gives you an instant sense of achievement. Achievement begets achievement. So creating a sense of value to cross off all of those things. Like I'll add things that I know that I have to do every day on that list just to feel good about crossing it off. Activity. You know, a lot of people maybe you don't want to beat yourself up working out. I hear this pushback a lot. Go walk, literally walk. That's all you have to do is go walk and put mental productivity in your head as you're walking. That is that simple. Do it 30, 40 minutes if that's all you have. Another thing is every morning after I listen to my personal development, before I dive into things, I re-visualize my big goals. So the night before, I'm visualizing my daily goals. Every morning, I visualize my big goals. I take 15 minutes to review my goals and another 15 minutes to visualize how they're all playing out. Because while we created those goals and we wrote them down, it's so easy to forget about what we're working towards. Like, what's the bigger picture here? And another big thing to build your sense of empowerment is learning to say no to things that don't serve you. This is a big one for the pleasers, especially. Learning to say no, I can't do it. I don't have enough bandwidth. It's not serving my bottom line purpose. It's not serving my family. And a lot of times people don't become as successful as they can be because they're trying to please other people too much. And other people, meaning like external people that maybe are acquaintances over their family. And the truth is the health of your relationships, especially your closest ones, is in direct proportion to your success. So fostering the health of your relationships breeds success because there's not drama, there's not chaos going in your lives. That's why when people get divorced, there's chaos because everything's being uprooted. And so when you're nurturing your relationships every day, then you can thrive, you can feel empowered, you can feel organized, you can feel successful, you can feel achievement. It's not self-esteem that people need to grow, it's a sense of self-worth. And you get your worth by consistently following through on achieving things.
A couple things that I heard. One of the things that I heard, but you didn't outright say it, it's the muscle being trained. And it's this muscle.
Yes.
Right? We've got that 6 inches
Absolutely.
between the left and the right ear.
Yep.
And how we train that muscle, that brain, how we train that, how we do our to-do lists. I like to do mine on Sunday nights to plan out at least the next 48 hours.
Yep. Yep.
Jen Grossman made a comment. What a great point. She says, what a great point, Groover, that you can actually plan it. And I'm watching her comment and I'm going, you've been watching me do this now for over a decade. But it takes Jen Groover and I getting together for all of a sudden for it to click. Like you literally, my to-do list, my calendar sits on the breakfast bar like 24/7. It goes everywhere with me. That's funny.
So funny. I love it. But there's two things I want to say. First of all, if other people are commenting and I'm not commenting back, I apologize. But the thing made me turn my phone that way, so I can't see the comments now. Okay. But, you know, there is something that, there's something to prove about what Jen just did. Sometimes sometimes each gender needs to hear something from their gender to understand it differently. And that's not a bad thing. It's just what it is. And it's why I fight so hard for more females on stage, motivating and training for females in the audience, because you could say the same thing to them, but they're not hearing it the same way that maybe as I would say it, because, you know, maybe I talked about my middle column has all my mom stuff in there too. And so, I'm not saying you don't have dad stuff, but there is something important and something that's really really remember as you're training teams. Sometimes people on the team need to hear things from their gender too, not just from the opposite gender. And that's, I'm glad Jen did that, because she probably just heard it differently. Not that she didn't see you do it and appreciate it, she just heard it differently.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we go through this all the time. You probably go through it with Steven. It's like you keep telling him something over and over again, and then a third party comes in and tells him the exact same thing, and then he nudges you and he goes, "Did you hear what he just said?"
Yeah,
like,
totally.
I've been doing this for years.
So my secret is this: when I say something, I'm trying to teach something, I actually will send videos on those points later and like let him hear the video, but not make it seem like it's like, hey, listen to this video. It's a great video. And then it will like sink in and he'll repeat it like a few days later and I'll be like, oh, I wonder where you got that from.
There you go. Subliminal messages.
Yes, totally. Sending videos to people are a good way to get your point across without feeling like you're teaching people.
Here's a topic that I think that is going to resonate with you. Like, so having success, making money, but like even being in the spotlight doesn't necessarily equate to happiness. And so there's a lot of unhappy millionaires out there. So all the money, all the accolades. What are some ways, one way, two ways, that you can combine the two? How can someone, and I'm sure all this is going to tie into everything that we've talked about, but how can you tie in living a happy life along with achieving great success? How do the two come together?
Yeah. So first of all, growth equals happiness. So there are a lot of really wealthy people that might have become successful in one way, shape, or form, but they neglected these other aspects of their lives, their families, their health. And so they're unhappy. And to me, my greatest achievement is and will always be happiness and inner peace. That's my greatest achievement. When I have inner peace, there's nothing better, and life cannot feel any better. And so when we reverse the goals, where we reverse I want to be happy and have inner peace, whatever that word is for you, then having this stuff just is icing on the cake. Not worrying about paying a bill, it's just icing on the cake. To me, people who have a tremendous amount of wealth and success that are unhappy is really one of the saddest things in the world, because they've missed the whole buildup. They've missed building the foundation of who they were to thrive above and have these things. And so they're always seeking the outside of themselves to create their identity. Your identity is within you. And that's the self-esteem and the self-worth and the character and the discipline. And so I believe also giving stuff a different value. I don't think the shoes that I wear define me. It maybe makes me taller, which I then feel more confident in. They might be cute or comfortable. I care about taller and comfort first and foremost, especially when I'm standing on stage for 90 minutes doing a speech. Or, you know, the street you live on or the car that you drive, that doesn't make you you. And you have to be okay whether it's there or it's not there. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't want it. I'm just saying that you still have to know who you are first and foremost. I'm a minimalist. I've studied Buddhism for the last 18 years of my lives. So I actually like minimal stuff. But what I love, what I put value on in success is traveling, going to sporting events, you know, so you had the Eagles game that day, like going to concerts with my daughters. That's a value to me because it creates experiences, memories, joy. So creating a value that the stuff doesn't make you. You can give more with the stuff. You can do more with the stuff. You can be less stressed with the stuff. But if you're unhappy and you have, and I've been there in my life where I've had it all and I wasn't happy within myself. So all this stuff meant nothing. It actually makes you feel worse. It literally makes you feel like a drug that and I've never done drugs in my life, but I know doing what I do for a living, how somebody comes off of a drug and what that looks like. To me, that's what that feels like every day when you if I get this car, I'll feel better about myself. If only I get this house, I'll feel better about myself. That's where that inner work every day comes in, because your greatest achievement should be being the best you every day, better than you were yesterday and the day before. And then the stuff literally makes life more fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's not about the accumulation of stuff. It's more about the accumulation of your self-worth. And again, this all ties back into, you know, what can you do on a daily basis that's going to make you happy? And it doesn't have to be a monetary thing. It needs to be something that you feel self-fulfilled with. Is that along those lines? Yes.
Yeah. So not going too deep into something I teach in my emotional intelligence classes, and I use a lot of neuroscience in it and quantum physics. So quantum physics, for those who don't know, is the study of energy, essentially. So each emotion has a frequency. Anger, hatred being the lowest on the scale of frequencies, and love being the highest. Underneath love is appreciation, and underneath appreciation is gratitude. And there truly is an energetic scale for all of these emotions. So for me, I set out every day, how do I stay at the frequency closest to love all day, every day? And for people, business minds think that sounds fluffy. You're missing an enormous opportunity, because love is the highest frequency, energy frequency. And if you're up that frequency, you're attracting high frequency people and high frequency opportunities like a magnet. So how do I then bring more of those people and opportunities in my life? I stay up at that frequency. So how do I get to a place of love? Well, a lot of people do gratitude journals, and I do gratitude expressions all the time. I express gratitude. I write my gratitude journal, but I realize appreciation is the action of gratitude. So it actually gets you to the higher frequency. So expressing your appreciation of things, not just holding it in and writing in the journal, but the active expression of appreciation to others, to experiences, to what's going on in your life all day, every day, keeps you in that state. So when you complain, you go down here. When you get mad at something, you go down here. Mm-hmm. But if you keep appreciating and expressing appreciation, I'm not saying ignore bad things that are happening, but be solution driven about them, not an active complainer about them. But if you could I teach all of my clients this visualization process to do throughout the day, all day, to the place of love. So I'm going to take gratitude. Like if we were doing gratitude journal, I'm grateful for my kids. I'm grateful for my home. I'm grateful. It's all very superficial. I'm not emotionally connected to it. Right. But if I sat there and I said, I love my kids. I love when I hear them belly laughing in their room. I love when I see one helping the other when they need it. I love that they look out when the one was sick the other day and she was helping her. And now I'm in a different place. I'm in the state of love, which means my frequency is high. You can pick any topic. People that do this exercise get good. I can pick up this water and do an I love exercise for 2 minutes with this water and go down like a crazy path where you now think water is the greatest thing in the world.
Yep.
But this creating these rituals, going back to your original question about ritual, that ritual to me is probably the most important ritual that I do and that my clients do all day, because it keeps us at the highest frequency that we can be at all day long.
So let's stay on that, because this is a great topic. It's something that it took time for me to learn, like learning meditation. Meditation was not easy for me to learn personally, but I knew that I needed to incorporate that into my daily rituals. I'm big on mind, body, spirit. I'm big on taking care of my body, putting the right things in my body, feeding the right things to my mind. And so stretching, meditation, acts of gratitude, and some prayer every day, like religiously every day. Why? Because in my position, more of a servant leader type position, right? I'm compensated based on the efforts of others. And how I perform and how I teach and how I educate is an indicator of how well we do.
Absolutely.
If I'm not ready for the game, those folks are certainly not going to be ready to play in the game.
Yeah, you're talking about, to me, what I also call energy management. So for people who don't want to accept it as a ritual, accept it as energy management. How do all high-performing athletes perform? They have energy management systems, energy management strategies. My battery is about to die, so if I take my earphones out, is it going to get echo, do you think? Because I have to plug
I don't
my
know.
phone.
Why don't we try and see what happens?
Okay, sorry, everybody. I don't want my phone to die in the middle of all this. You good? Can you hear me? Oh boy. All right. Well then, I have about 8% left on my phone.
Let's do this.
Hold on one second.
We're good. We've covered a ton. This was awesome. And
I want to share energy management though. I don't want to leave people hanging on that.
No. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Energy management to me
Zap
is
'em.
basically
Zap 'em.
Yeah. Literally, like, how do you become a high-performing athlete at work? How do you optimize your mental and physiological state so that you can work smarter instead of harder every day? So for meditation, I used to be so resistant against meditation because it felt like a waste of time for me. Like, I have too much to do. And the Buddhist saying is, the more you have to do, the more time you need to meditate. And meditation, just to give people who are overachievers a better perception. When you wake up in the morning, imagine your brain is like a clean, organized closet. Everything has a place, color-coded, short sleeves to long sleeves, skirts, or in your case, pants. Everything's perfect. By 3 o'clock, it looks like somebody getting ready on a Saturday night that can't find anything to wear. Everything's thrown everywhere. We've all experienced that, I'm sure. And so our brains are literally like the clutter closet. So when you open a clean closet, you're like, ah. You open a cluttered closet, you're like, phew. And that's what our brains do in the afternoon when we feel like shutting down. You're shutting down because your files are all over the place. If you just take 20 minutes to meditate, you'll clean up your files again, or you'll organize your closet again, so that you can pull things out of the files a lot easier. So that 20 minutes is active rest. I use what's called binaural beats, BINAURAL, binaural beats. You can Google it. There's ones on concentration and focus. There's ones for creativity. There's ones for sleep even. So you can look for what you're looking for, what outcome you're looking for, and attachment to it. But when you do this binaural beats, you can fall asleep, by the way, with the subconscious programming ones. If you fall asleep, your brain takes off its editor, and all this good stuff is being programmed into your brain while you're sleeping. But your brain is still actually working for the overachievers. Your brain's still working in a beneficial way. But when it's done, you literally feel like someone who came out of hypnosis and is just ready to go, or out of an 8-hour like awesome rest. Hydration is huge, huge. Most people are significantly dehydrated, and coffee and soda is not what I'm talking about. Like straight up water with lemon. Why lemon? Lemon's detoxifying. The more toxins that are in your brain, the slower your brain's going to work. The more toxins in your body, the slower your body's going to work. And this other one people freak out about. Lemon puts your body instantly into alkaline state. So you can have acidic state or an alkaline state. When your body is in the state of alkaline, cancer cannot grow. Cancer cannot grow in an alkaline state. So the more your body is in alkaline state, the less of an opportunity cancer can grow in your body. For that alone, everyone should be putting lemon in their water every day. Breathing. Most people sit all day and they're sitting like this. So now you cannot expansively breathe. Breathing is a huge thing, and most people forget to do it. I learned the fastest way to uptake oxygen in your brain for performance, force yawn. Who knew? Force yawn. So I will always do force yawns before I do anything that I have to perform with. So I instantly get smarter. Walking, which I said again, is anytime I'm stressed out, fired up, or tired, I just walk, even if it's one time around my block. So I just feel better. Or run up and down the stairs 15 times, whatever that is that you can do. Jump on a trampoline. But stretching, as you mentioned, movement, and any way to change your state. If you feel tired, get up and move, change your state. But you have to constantly optimize your physiological state to optimize your mental and emotional state. Eating right. If you're eating garbage, you feel like garbage, your brain works like garbage. You'll have what I call mental fog, which mental fog is miserable for me, really miserable. So I eat avocado in the middle of the day almost every day because it's brain food. I'm very mindful of not eating foods that are going to make me tired. I'm not saying I can't have it ever. I don't touch sugar at all during a work day because I don't want to be tired. So I learned to value my energy and my mental clarity over whatever junk food it is that someone will want to eat. And the more you start to recognize the correlation, what you're eating is making you tired. Now you got to work harder to make it through your afternoon. Your mental clarity is not good. You're not firing on all cylinders. And then you're not as creative, which means you're not as strategic. You're not as quick on your toes if you're talking to people. As a matter of fact, you're annoyed probably talking to people. So optimizing your physiological state, going into rituals and routines is one of the most important things that you can do. And I'm going to add to that one more thing. Those people who love to watch TV a lot, what you are watching does affect the quality of your thoughts and perception of the world.
Ding, 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 ding.
So,
Oh my goodness.
Please be wise in what you're choosing and how much you're choosing it. And I love when people tell me they're not starting their business or they're not growing their business because they don't have enough time. And I always say, let's look at your day. Let's break down your day. And we have a block from 7 to 10, 5 nights a week. We're not even going to get to the weekends watching TV. I'm like, okay, 3 times 5 is 15 hours. 15 hours. So you could have been building something in that 15 hours, or you could have been watching things to build your brain to create something better in your next 15 hours. Either way, there's probably a better way. And I'm not saying people can't have fun and do mindless activities, so to speak, but people do it more than they realize that they do it, and they're not getting as much fulfillment out of it. One of the things I challenge my clients is take that TV time. Maybe they have 3 hours, take an hour and a half and start watching positive development thing. And I'll send them certain videos. They can watch that and then watch their favorite show. They eventually just stop watching the other stuff because they're like, oh, I felt so good after I watched the video that you sent me. So I wanted to watch another one. And then I watched another one. And so what you're watching, how you're spending your free time really is affecting your performance.
How you doing? You got juice?
I don't even know. I can't even see it because the thing's sideways. So I don't know. My 10% thing came up like minutes ago.
So first of all, it reaffirms some of the things that I do in my life, all the things that you spoke of, starting with the lemons and the water and the no TB and just all the different things. And so I would really implore upon others who are going to watch this, and we're going to have thousands of people that are going to go back and watch this interview that are really going to get some good, cold, hard facts. And I hope that they take this not for granted, but they begin to at least incorporate even just some of the bullet points that we talked about and incorporate into their business, incorporate into their lives. I really appreciate you being here with us here today. This was an exciting one. I have a feeling that we probably could have kept going here probably for another hour for sure.
Totally.
Yep. There were some questions that I had written down that I didn't even get to, but
so we'll do another one.
We'll totally do another one. The transitions were great, and the information was spot on. And so I thank you. Grateful for you, and grateful for your friendship, and glad to yeah.
Likewise, it was great. I feel like I just drank 10 cups of coffee.
Yes. I just have like this natural energy. I just go. It's like, I don't need coffee. I'm just like on, but
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, I love it. Like, feeding off of what you love is like, you don't even eat coffee. You're just feeding off of what you love.
Yep, for sure. So, well, Groover, I'm going to see you when I see you. Did you already have your birthday party?
Tomorrow.
Gotcha.
You'll be missed. You and Jen will be missed.
Yeah, Jen's in Vermont. She's on her way to go do some snowboarding.
Oh, nice. Yeah, okay, cool. That's fun.
And I'm just going to work and have the kids. I'm just going to hang out.
All right. Well, listen, grooving into a new year, we can do another time.
Absolutely. Thank you again. Let's do a virtual high five.
Boop. Boop. All right. Well, yours was better than mine. All right, cool. Love
I'll
it.
see ya.
Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you got a lot out of this. I'm very active on social media, specifically Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. I post a lot about things like this. So connect with me. If you have questions, let me know. But it's just my name, Jen Groover, like groovy with an R.
And please, when you have a second, jump back into the comments, drop your link for everybody. I think that there's some folks in that group that should take you up on some of your coaching and some of that direction. So that would be
great. Love it. Love transforming lives. Love seeing people peak perform.
Awesome. Love it. Thanks. Have a great
day.
All
right. Thanks. You too. Bye, everyone.